Hi, good morning. Welcome to Edtech Camp on Air. My name is Jason Lay, and in my session today, I will be sharing about using gamification to engage students. During this session today, we want to invite you to engage with us by using Edtech Camp on Air hashtag on Twitter or by sending comments or questions through the YouTube live chat. If you are watching this video on the EdTech Camp on Air website and want to access the YouTube live chat, please click on the word YouTube at the bottom of the video and you'll be taken to the YouTube live page where you'll find the chat. Let's get started. So what I've done is I have prepared a Google slide presentation and I'm going to share that slide deck with you. Using gamification to increase student engagement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Knowledge Hood Game Show, and this is for math teachers. And then we'll play by ear, see how much time we have, because my plan is to also go in more details about Kahoot, which I use every day in my classroom. The other is I have slides prepared by Sylvia, who presented with me earlier, but she was not able to make it today. And she has slides about Quizlet, and you can look at those for your reference. So if you need to contact me, my Twitter handle is jlay02, or you can email me at jason.lay@yrdsb.ca. Okay, so like I mentioned, the agenda today, we're going to focus first on Knowledge Hook. And Knowledge Hook, actually make a correction about that. It's for students in grade 2 to 10. And the benefits are Knowledge Hook and how it works. And then we're actually going to play a game. So I hope many of you can join me in playing a game of Knowledge Hook, because as teachers, we know one of the best ways to learn is learning by actually doing. Okay, so we want to empower teachers and inspire students in math. And so that's why Knowledge Hook, which is a Canadian company based in Waterloo, that's why they started. And so we have a lot of great Canadian tech companies in the field of education. Now it's built for math teachers. And unlike some programs, like for example, compared to Kahoot, it has ready-made content that are curriculum aligned. So this is really good because you don't have to worry, like, am I covering the material that I need to get through the curriculum in my math classes? And this puts teachers like you and myself at ease. It's a flexible tool, so you can use it for many purposes depending on your needs in your classroom. So you can use it for diagnostic purposes, consolidation, practice, and review. And that's what I did. Like in class, before I started unit, I would use Knowledge Hook to see where students are, like where their gaps in their learning, for example. And then after teaching some lessons, I would use it for consolidation. Sometimes I find that students are having some difficulty, and I would use it for practice. And finally, with a test coming up, I would also use it for review. Now, it allows teachers like yourself to gauge and track student understanding throughout the year, because it allows you to simply do assessments. And we know as teachers, it's we don't have that much time, so it's always a challenge to find that time and to do assessments. But and that's one of the advantage of educational technology, that it can do so much of the work for you and prepare charge as to where students are in terms of their learning. It's very easy to set up and get started. And we're going to go through that later. And that's what we need, because as teachers, we're so busy, and it's intimidating if something is very complicated and not easy to use. Now, it's designed for student engagement, and that's why I've been very passionate about the field of gamification, because Generation Z, the students that we're teaching today, they only have 8-second attention spans. So how do we keep our students engaged when they're always on their mobile phones and always on screens? And that's where gamification comes in. So, one of the if watching videos about, practitioners in the field of gamification, tools that they use to get students engaged is like using badges, having them leveling up, and this reinforces the growth mindset. Now, what is Knowledge Hook? It's a web-based quiz game for the math class that feels more like a game than a math review, because students, they're more engaged when they feel it's fun than versus, oh, it's work that they have to do. Now, this is really exciting, is that when you have the subscription, students can earn real medals and class pennants. They get shipped to your school. So I was excited to put up the pennant for my class. And then when the students completed the full marathon, I received medals in the mail. And my students, to be honest, they were so excited to get the medals, because they really felt that they worked really hard and achieved a lot. And we're going to go through this more, but what you can see is that with Knowledge Hook, they provide solutions, and it's very visual tools. So, so many of our students, they're real visual learners, and that's one of the strengths of this tool. Now, it supports strong pedagogy. So it's very research-based, and that's important for us as teachers. It's built to support teacher-led classroom discussions, because Knowledge Hook is not here to basically replace the teacher. It's augmentation. Basically, as a teacher, you work with the technology, and it's to help you support your lessons. And you can invite parents to support learning at home, because we know when students are getting supported by their parents at home, they tend to be doing so much better when their parents are involved. And the way for parents to get involved is they need to know how their students are doing. And Knowledge Hook does that. It alerts parents as to how they are doing. And this is an option. So it's only if parents want to get involved and learn more about how their students are doing that you're able to use this tool to do that. The other is it can capture student thinking and provide feedback. So when I was using Knowledge Hook, for example, and there were students can take a picture, and then basically I would see it pop up on my screen and see that students have feedback, and then I can play or put up on the screen the picture that the student took. And this gives immediate feedback, because that's so important for students to know right away, basically, how they're doing, and that keeps students engaged. The other thing is basically so students say they don't do so well, or there's some areas that they have difficulty. In Knowledge Hook, in the subscription base, provides remediation activities delivered to your inbox so that basically you can either print it off and have the students work on these activities to support areas they're having difficulty with, or like in my classroom, I had students actually use iPads so that I was in many ways doing a lot of paperless activities so that they could do the activities right on their iPad. Okay, so actually, why don't we do this? I think we're going to actually play a game of game show. I will log in as a teacher and start the game show. And then you will follow the on-screen instructions and join as a guest. So what you can see is I have created, like, this is my class from last year, actually last semester, class 1. And that was applied math class, grade 10 applied math class. And the other is I was teaching a workplace class last semester. And really, what was really good was I was able to use elementary um, grade materials to really fill in the gaps in understanding, because the students had many gaps, like difficulties with fractions and work that they did in grade 5 or grade 6 or even grade 3. And I was able, based on their needs, to go and review and fill in these gaps that they had in their understanding. So what I did was I created a class here, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And we're actually going to play. So then you get a real feel of how Knowledge Hook game show works. So I hope all of you who are watching this are able to participate and take part. Okay, so I'm going to pick one. Let's pick one that is, actually, this is a lot of questions. Let's pick one with less questions. Okay, so we want to do one with a smaller one. So why don't we do, okay, demonstrate and explain equivalent representations of a decimal number. So we have 6 questions, and hopefully all of you can participate. So what you can see is what I do is I click invite students. So what you need to do now is go to kmath.com/join. And then the class code is ICE 4564. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to join this. And I got a text that Jocelyn will be joining us. So hopefully a lot of you or more of you can join, just so that you can play along and really get a feel of how to do this. So I know it's going to take time because you need to basically create your profile if this is the first time that you are using Knowledge Hook Game Show. So I'm going to give you some time to join up. And what you can do is you don't need a laptop. You can just use your cell phone. And what I a lot of my students, they join up using a cell phone. Okay, so I have one student joined up, and let me just wait and just see if anybody else will be joining. Okay, so we'll wait another minute. Okay, I got a text from Jocelyn. She's really great. She's helping out with text with support here, and there will be other students joining. So we'll wait as these students join. And if you need more time, you can also send a message. If you're watching on YouTube and you're able to chat, just send a message saying that you need more time to join. And then the other thing is, since we sort of have a break here, if you have any questions, feel free to text any questions. Okay, we're going to start, but feel free if you want to join later. And then you're going to get a feel of how this works. And the other thing is this is all going to be recorded. So I'm going to post the video later so you can have a chance to see this video. Okay, so the very first question out of 6 is how many hundredths are there in 6/10? And what happens is with this tool, you can see the actual graphics to help visual learners. The other thing is it does give you help. So you can play around with it, use the buttons at the bottom of your screen and adjust it up or down to help you with your answer. And then given that, then you can decide which one is the right answer. Okay. So what I can see is that right now there's two teachers or students participating, and once they're all done, then it would move on to the next question. Okay. So we have a really smart class here. So you can see 100% of the answers are correct. What I do in my math class is I project this on a whiteboard. So say most of the students get it wrong, then we have a discussion class. I write on the whiteboard with the projection of Game Show Knowledge Hook. And then with the discussion, I teach a lesson about, and take down different options or methods to solve this. Okay, let's go on to the next question. And this is what students find really cute is like, After the end of each question, it tells what percent of the class got it right. And what's really good is that it talks about the entire class, so it doesn't single out people. So students don't get anxious, especially if there is a smaller class, so that students are more willing to participate. Okay, let's go on to the next question. And question number 2 of 6, a flat represents a whole or one. That means each cube is 100 or 0.01, and each rod is 1/10 or 0.1. How many tenths are equal to 40 hundredths? Okay, and you can use the tool down here to help you come up with your answer too. I do have some comments from students that they feel that using the tool below makes it too easy for them. So what you can do is you can comment to students and say, okay, I know you need more challenge, so try not to use the tool down there to get your answer. So that's one advice you can do to differentiate students that, oh, wow, okay, so wow, we got a really good class, and you can see, really great job. Okay, so hashtag class win. Let's go to the next one. Okay, how many tenths is equal to 50 hundredths? Okay, so take your time, look at the graphics and think it through. And what I do too is, depending on the class and where their understanding is, sometimes I find I might need to give hints so that the students are closer to the zone of approximation, and so that basically they're not too intimidated and by the difficulty of the question. So with the hint, the student at least will try and attempt the answer. So you can approach it different ways to try and get as many of the students to give it a try. Okay, great. Okay, we're doing amazing here. Amazing class. Okay, question number 4. How many hundredths are equivalent to 6/10? Okay, so give this a try. And then I want to do this whole quiz, and then you can see basically what happens at the end when you have the process of doing a complete quiz, okay, and the feedback that Game Show gives to the students. And actually, I'm going to show you my class and basically show the feedback that Knowledge Show Game Show does give you so that you have a good understanding. Okay, good. So with this, like you could see one student got it right, one student got it wrong. And so this is where I could have a discussion, and maybe the student that got it right could explain the method that he or she used to the rest of the class, and go up to the whiteboard, do it. And that's one option that you have. Okay, so we're coming down to 2 more questions. So which model shows a decimal that cannot be written as a decimal tenth? So take a look at the graphics and then choose if it's A, B, C, or D. Okay. And just a reminder, same time again, depending on where the students are in their understanding, you can be giving hints, you can be supplementing what's given in the question here. And what I do too is when I had a small class, I would double check, because there would be some students that if you have a student that's not focused, just remind them, okay, to submit your answer. Okay, excellent. Another hashtag class win. Okay, this is the very last question. Elena needs 4.62 meters of fabric to make curtains. The fabric is sewed in tenths of a meter. How much fabric should she buy? Okay, so you can have 5 meters, 4 meters, 4.7 meters, and 4.6 meters. Another way, if you don't want to read it yourself, you can also use the Google tools and have basically using Google to read it. So let's click finish game. So we're finished the game. Shows the final class score, 11 correct. So we have a very strong class here. And then click continue to feedback. And then it gives students the option to give feedback about the work, the quiz that they went. Okay. And we're done. So, and this is very good, is at the end of each Knowledge Hook game show, it comes up with a report. So right here, you can see, and it comes up with all the dates that the game show had. And right here, you can see that we did a grade 5 class. So 5 stands for grade 5. And then it shows, you can see the curriculum expectations are met down here. So if you look below, it says demonstrate and explain equivalent representations of a decimal number using concrete materials. So what expectation did I cover? And then you can see the performance of the students. Okay. And let's go back to the presentation. So hopefully you're very excited and you want to ask, how do I get started? And that's a really good question. What you do is to create your own class, you go to www.khmath.com and then you register as a teacher and you add a class. So you could see, just like I added 3 classes. So here you create your first class and then you scheduled and bookmark a game show for next week. So we'll probably not have you do that today, but what you can do is later after this screencast, you can try it out yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or tweet me with any comments that you have, and give it a try, because I find using Knowledge Hook Game Show, it's done amazing things in my math classroom. Okay, if you have any questions for more tips, what you can do is you can go to knowledgehook.com and /resources. They also provide free swag, which is amazing. So let me go through the premium access. So basically there's a subscription option, and I had the subscription option and I would highly recommend it. And so why would you get a premium access? It provides you with the ability to differentiate to individuals or groups. Now, so basically you can, as a classroom teacher, give different work, because there's something called missions, and you can give different work to different students based on their needs. And it's excellent to have that ability to differentiate. The other thing is it provides videos. So I find the students, they enjoy watching the videos because it provides hints and work examples for self-directed learning and scaffolding, especially if you have a big applied class and students have so many questions and you're just one teacher. That's always been a challenge as an applied math teacher or even an academic class. So when a lot of students have questions, I mean, one technique you always use, of course, is to have the other students help each other. But this provides another tool where students, instead of getting frustrated and getting anxious about not being able to do the prompts, they can watch the videos, and it will also provide hints as and examples, which helps them a lot. The other thing is for students to be focused, they need to know where they're going. And so what Premium Access provides is clear goals and visible progress. So they know where they are, what areas they covered in terms of the expectations, what they need to still work on. And the other thing is to feel a sense of achievement. I mean, you get the visual badges when you go to different levels, but actually Knowledge Hook at the premium level, they send actual medals for students that have achieved something called the marathon, which is meeting the expectations. And most importantly, as teachers, we always want something that's easy for us to use. And what I found is it did not take me that much time to get up to speed in using Knowledge Hook. It's very intuitive. The interface is very good, easy to use. The students find it very easy to use. Whenever students have questions, I'm able to help solve the problems. And also students, they learn quickly, so they can also help the other students that are having difficulties in using the technology. But that's really important, the ease of using the technology. Now, what are the benefits of school-wide access? If you do that, you can identify and track students with underlying gaps. And also you can do real-time mediation strategies delivered to your inbox. So I mentioned earlier that you can either print them off or you can put them on an iPad, and then students can just work on it in their workbook. And it unlocks actionable insights from your board's EQAO assessment results. And I found this especially helpful because I was teaching a grade 9 applied math class, and they had to do the EQAO assessment. So, and which is amazing because most of the EQAO assessment is basically multiple choice, and this tool is a multiple choice quiz. So students can learn more about multiple choice strategies by actually doing it. And what's good is, as you can see below, it'll tell you what percentage your class perform above or below the provincial average. So you know basically for the EQAO what you need to work on in order to meet the gaps in their understanding for the EQAO exam. Now let's move on to Kahoot. And this semester I'm teaching civics, and actually I use Kahoot pretty much almost every day. And if students are, to be honest, they're so excited to use Kahoot. And they're always asking, when are we going to do Kahoot in class? So for the teachers that haven't used Kahoot, I mean, what's so exciting about using Kahoot in your class? So as I mentioned earlier, the best way to learn is by actually doing. So I've set up a Kahoot and right and actually I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Kahoot as a diagnostic tool. So basically, I want to see um, for the participants where you are in terms of your knowledge of Kahoot right now. Okay, so Kahoot, just like knowledge show, game show, can be used as a diagnostic tool. And so you can see this is my Kahoot. I click my Kahoots, and I have basically Kahoots that were created by me, and also I have my favorites. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the Kahoot intro quiz. Okay, and that's played, and I hope you will be able to participate. Basically, there are 10 questions, and it's going to help me as an educator understand where you are in your understanding of Kahoot. Okay, so it's downloading. And then what I usually do is I feel the first function is the one that I use all the time. I've tried the team versus team shared device, but I find that especially with devices, like pretty much in a high school classroom, all students can get access to like a phone, and so there's very few students that don't have a device. And for the few students that don't, I ask them just to sit next to a classmate and to share the device. So I find that I only use the very first option, which is the classic option. So we're doing the Kahoot intro quiz. So what you need to do is type in join at kahoot.it. And once you go there, it's going to show a game pin box. And what you're going to do is you're going to type in the game pin 945224. Okay, so that's 945224. So you can see what happens is players, I have one player joined. The other thing is sometimes students do put in naughty nicknames. So what I could do is I can click this X right here. I'm not going to do it, but basically I can do the X, and then what happens is the person is booted out, but then they can come up with another nickname. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait, and and Jocelyn, if you can let me know if I should wait any longer, or if I should start the Kahoot. So maybe we'll just wait a couple more minutes and see if anybody else is joining. Okay, so we're gonna wait one more minute, and then we're gonna start the game. So we'll be starting at 12:10. Okay, we waited for the minute and we're going to start. So there's 10 questions. And so just try your best. Question number 1, what is Kahoot? Is it a worldwide game-based blended learning platform, a fun classroom engagement tool, a place to share thought-provoking questions, an audience response system? So what I do is I wait, I see how many students are answered. Sometimes what I notice is that maybe one student is not participating. So what you can do is you can just go on to the next question and just click next. Okay, so wow, we have a competitive game going on here. How can I join the Kahoot community? Go to kahoot.com. Follow a few simple and quick steps. Skype interview with the CEO or get a free account. Okay, great. So the answer is go to kahoot.com. Okay, we have quite a competitive race going. Okay, question number 3 of 10. Yes, I'm a Kahooter now. How do I start creating my first Kahoot? Choose a type of Kahoot with butter and sugar. Get inspiration from the public Kahoots. Pick a good title, description, and audience. Okay, great. So this was tricky because you could choose more than one. So there was actually 3 answers. How can I personalize my Kahoot? You can upload an image or add a YouTube video. You can change question time limits. You can award points or not, quiz jumbo only, or you can paint the screen. Okay, so actually this is a challenging one. There were 3 possible answers. Okay, we're getting a bit of separation here, but I think the others can catch up. Okay, question number 5. But also it can change its haircut, drag questions to reorder them, add more questions, edit, duplicate, or trash questions. Okay, excellent. So let's go to the next one. Okay, question number 6. To play a Kahoot, I must launch it on a large screen for everyone to see my questions. Join on separate devices with my assigned game pin. Use any web-enabled device, mobile, tablet, netbook, laptop. Join at kahoot.it or the Kahoot iOS Android mobile app. Okay, so it's actually all four of them. Okay, question number 7. Who can benefit from Kahoot? So students and teachers in schools and universities, friends and family, social event coordinators, trainers, or business teachers. Okay, excellent. It's actually all four of them. Okay, so we have HJ in first and Josh K in second, but it's a very close game still. So question number 8, what can I use the results for? See a full leaderboard and responses to each question, assigning grades, informing and adjusting lesson plans, review feedback ratings, and explore ways to enhance learning. Okay, good. So it's actually 3 of the 4. The only one it's not is the assigning grades. Okay, question number 9 out of 10. What does Kahoot offer you? It captivates and focuses a whole room. Students can take control of their own learning. It enables formative assessment and adaptive learning. It's a fun, easy to use, and empowering experience. Okay, so actually it's all 4 of them. Okay, HJ has passed the 10,000 mark. Okay, last question. Now that I'm in love with Kahoot, what should I do? Follow at facebook.com/getkahoot and Twitter at getkahoot. Download the iOS or Android mobile app. Tell my friends, family, and colleagues. Become an expert at kahoot.com/help and kahoot.com/blog. Okay, and it's all 4. Excellent. So what Kahoot does now is it shows the top 3 finishers. So HJ got 11,571 points. Josh K got 8,802, and Shai did not really participate, but for some reason she ended up in 3rd. And what you can see is that actually, because it is competitive, students get excited that they end up in the podium, and it gives them more incentive to be engaged. So what we do is click Get Results, and basically right here you can see you can do play again, or you can do ghost mode, where basically with ghost mode, you can play at a later time and you can play against yourself just so that you can improve. And some students, they do ask, how can I study for the test? So they can do that using ghost mode. And sometimes you can click and start a new game. The other thing is I do often click show feedback so I can see how students felt about the game they played. So when I click that, students can give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on their learning, um, give feedback about how they're feeling, and give feedback whether they recommend the game or not. Okay, so what we're going to do Actually, what we're going to do now is I wanted to show you a bit about what I've been doing personally on Kahoot in my civics class. One question I gave an earlier workshop on Kahoot, and this is one question I remember getting that really hit a chord with me. And the question basically was that I'm so busy. I don't have time as a teacher, and I can really relate to that. I don't have time to create all these questions, come up with these questions, and and so that's the thing that's holding me back in using Kahoot in my classroom. So actually, that's a really good point because that's what holds me back in terms of some of the technology because just the time involved. So, for instance, say I wanted to do another quiz on Kahoot, but I feel, well, it takes so much time to create a quiz. So, what I can do is I can go here, click Find Kahoots, and I'm going to type in Kahoot. And I can see, for example, I want, if I wanted to, like, say I had a very advanced class, and basically I wanted to see, I was teaching blind Kahoots, and I wanted to see how much you knew about, how much you learn about, say, my lesson about blind Kahoots. I could go right here, and I've already have a ready-made Kahoot with 20 questions. So I click that, and I look through the questions, and I go, wow, this is really amazing. I think this would be a really good Kahoot for my blind Kahoot workshop. So what I do now is I go here and I can duplicate it. So I click duplicate. And so you can see it showing up here in my Kahoots. And so I don't like the having the draft in front. So why don't I edit this? So I'm going to click continue editing. And I don't like the duplicate of, so basically I'm going to click this pencil to edit it. And I'm going to delete that. Okay. And what you can do too is, for example, I do one on civics and about politicians. And what I'm always editing my Kahoot all the time. I can go into the questions and update different politicians. For example, Patrick Brown is no longer the leader of the Conservative Party. So I have to go into my Kahoot and change that. Okay, click OK, go. And so you can see the title has changed to Exploring Probability Blind Kahoot. And I save that. And I'm done. So I'm going to click I'm done. And there it is. And what's really good is, as teachers, we always have to give credit where credit's due. So the person or teacher that created it, that person is right here. So even though it's in my Kahoots file, I've given credit to the person that created it. And now I can click play, and then we can start playing and exploring probability blind Kahoots. Okay, so let's go back to my presentation here. And I think we have about 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to go quickly through the rest of the slides. So at Edtech Camp, me and another teacher, Sylvia Osh, we did a joint presentation. And so these are her slides because she covered Kahoot and she covered Quizlet. So I'm going to go through quickly her slides. And so she included a video about basically how to make your own Kahoot. She went to the pedagogy. And then you can click this to learn about how to, a new feature that Kahoot has come out, basically how to assign Kahoot as homework. And then, as just mentioned earlier about Blind Kahoot, it's basically introducing friendly competition, collect assessment data, have students make their own Kahoot, and bonus, there's less known features. And so you can click here to with a template about Blind Kahoots, and it includes a video you can watch to learn about how to do a Blind Kahoot. There's more. Here's an actual example of basically using Kahoot to do Blind Kahoots. And it introduces friendly competition, encourage students to beat their own score using a ghost mode. So I mentioned briefly about ghost mode before. One option you have is competing with another class, as if you are going live. And this is exciting where you can have more than one class competing against each other. So there's more and more options with Kahoot, and so you can actually use Google Hangouts, just like we're using Google Hangouts now. And we can also collect assessment data using Kahoot. And let's keep going. We have a couple more minutes. So the other one, the last slide I have is using Quizlet. So in one side, just go through that. I would highly recommend Quizlet. You can use it as a flashcard. But like I mentioned earlier, students are so engaged when you're using gamification in the classroom. Now, if you have any questions, the way to contact me, you can contact me through my email. So jason.lay, that's L-A-Y, at gapps.yrdsb.ca. I have my my website, so you can find out more about what I do clicking my website. The other thing is I have a couple Twitter accounts. So one of my Twitter accounts is jlay02. And in this Twitter account, basically, I'm putting a lot of material about educational technology. My passions are in the field of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, online learning, e-learning. I teach, right now I'm teaching a grade 12 international business e-learning course. My other Twitter account is lay_Mr. And here I post things that are happening at my school at Vaughan Secondary. Like we have the best basketball team in York Region. And we really have to thank Mr. Janopoulos, who's and Andrew Wiggins is alumni of ours. So if you want to see what's happening in my classroom at Vaughan, you can follow me at my Twitter handle, lay_mister. So I really appreciate you for spending time um, here. And I especially like to thank the DLRT team, especially Jocelyn for giving support today, and for Jen and Kim for giving an excellent session because I've never used YouTube Live before, and they had an excellent workshop which helped me bring me up to speed in using YouTube Live. Thanks so much. And if you want to watch this video, I'm going to post it on my YouTube site. So you can always search for me on YouTube, just Jason Lay. Okay, so we're going to end it there, and thanks again.